how to actually stay productive, focused, and organized without spending money on complex tool AIs and everything. This is the video for you. If you're new to the channel, my name is Ghiles. I'm an international startup advisor and consulting engineer. I'm traveling a lot internationally, and I'm also helping startups. I'm helping big accounts, and I always have like friends here and there and family reaching out to me to ask me for help on their project and businesses, and I have to manage all of that. Here's a simple way to do so. No complex thing. Anyone can do it, and I really want to share this with you today in this video. And at the end of the video, I'll actually walk you through my calendar. So let's go. All right, let's go. Hey, I like this little effect here. Okay, so all you need to get started is a Google Calendar. If you don't have a Google Calendar, create a Gmail account, and this will give you access to Google Calendar, to Gmail, obviously, to YouTube, etc. So you can do it for free. You can do it in under a minute. And so once you have that, the first thing that you need to do is get to your calendar right here and configure it so that you have the Sunday that is the beginning of your week. So your week will go from Sunday to Saturday, and there's a particular reason for that. And so the first thing that you'll do is define your starting time. So if you start at 8, make your starting time here at 8, starting time. There you go. I like to change the color of this, make it boom, like a little color here. And then make your ending time. I don't know what that is. Okay, so let's say you you stop at this time, give it a little color. The idea is just to give you a visual clue of when your day work starts and when your day ends. And so then what you're going to do is pretty simple, and you don't have to overthink it. Google Calendar has a couple of options in the way you set events. So you can either create an event, or you can create a task, or you can create an appointment schedule. I don't know if you guys have that. Yeah, you should have it. And so what we're going to do in the level 1 is that we are basically only going to create tasks. Boom. And so the way it works is that a task is by default half an hour, and you give it a name, and then you save it, and boom, there you go, you have it. And once you're done with it, you just click on the task, mark it complete, the color changes, and there you go. So this is a very simple way of organizing yourself. And so how are you going to plan your day and your weeks with this technique? Well, it's fairly simple. There are 2 things that you'll do. Thing number 1 is that every time you'll have something to do, or someone sends you a message and say, hey, can you do that for me, blah, blah, blah. You open your Google Calendar, you create the task, and you write it down. Make the YouTube video, give it a little detail just to make sure you know what you have to do more precisely. The calendar and task video. Boom. There you go. So you're going to set this task, and what you're going to do is that you'll put it in your stack, and your stack is the Sunday. That's why I like to have the Sunday as the beginning of the week. So here, you'll just drop all your tasks. Send mail to XXX. Boom. Then answer XX WhatsApp message. Boom. There you go. Create the landing page. Boom. Another task, etc., etc., etc. So you'll have a stack of tasks, and essentially this will become what we call a backlog. So I'm going to skip all the explanation, but if you're interested, let me know in the comments down below. But this is what we call the backlog. And so here you'll have all your tasks. And as you'll go through the day or through the week, you'll essentially just pick a task from the backlog and just move it to where you think you'll be able to do the task. And then when you finish that, when you complete the task, you just mark it as complete. Now, you're probably going to think, yeah, but what if the task is longer than 30 minutes? Well, this is where we will use the second option, which is the event. So let's say, I took the perfect task as an example. So make the YouTube video about this. So let's say I'm supposed to do this task on a Tuesday, and we are that Tuesday, and that task is not taking me 30 minutes. It's actually taking me much more time than that. There you go. So what I will do, I'll create the event, and I can do it backwards, I can do it backwards. And as you can see, the task is always above the event. So I can always like have the event as a placeholder, as a blocker. And so when I'm gonna tackle the task, I'm just gonna start looking at it. And if I see after 30 minutes I'm not done with it, I can either create a new task, boom, and just put it here, or I can just block the time backwards. So what I mean by that is I started the task here at this level, and then I got to work, and then I finished here. What I can do is, instead of sort of creating a lot of mini tasks here, I can just create an event and say this was the YouTube video. And because I did it, I can always like drop a little emoji. I like to do that. It makes it easier to understand. Change the color to something that is less active and say, okay, now I know I did the task. And I'm gonna mark it complete here and complete here to make it easier. But as you can see, like marking the task complete twice is not really optimal. So what I will do instead was just mark the placeholder. Just increase the size of the placeholder so that it reflects the task in a more simple way. And so by doing that, you can organize everything you do. So the thing is, what if you have a task that is not in the backlog, but that you need to sort right away? So let's say you jump on a call. There you go. We had a call here. Call with a client. So I like to color my call with clients with this color. Boom. So you had a call with a client, and during the call you realize that you probably a bunch of tasks that needs to be done before the end of the day. Well, you just put it here. Client task 1. Boom, there you go. Client task 2. Boom, there you go. Sorry, I made a mistake. I made an event and not a task. Client task 2. Sorry, there you go. This is live. And then you would just tackle the task right away. And so the good thing is, you say, yeah, but what if I had task already planned here that was scheduled? What do I do with these things? Well, the question is this client task more important than the one that you had here? If the answer is yes, then you'll just push this one down and bring this one up. Same thing for this one. You bring this one down, you bring this one up. And so this one would sort of naturally stack under. And then the same thing is going to happen. You'll say, yeah, but the first task actually took me an hour. And so what happens? Well, you'll just get back to your calendar before marking the task to done. You'll just move the other ones down and you'll just fill it with extra information. Boom, there you go. Can I move this? Oh yeah, excellent. Let me change the color. Boom, client task 1. There you go. And so now, yeah, like I said, we can always give it a little check mark. There you go, so that we know it was done. And so now I know the client task took me an entire hour. If it took me 2 hours, that's okay. I just blocked for 2 hours, and then I know that the task was done, so I'm gonna mark it to done. And at the end of this session, I'm probably gonna take a little break because that was a lot of work. So I'm just gonna give myself a little pause, and I'm gonna color code the pause so that I know it was a tea time. I like to put T, and I'm gonna show you why. Boom, so that when I click on it, oh no, it doesn't work. Maybe it's just because I added the pause thing. Oh no, it doesn't work. Strange. Usually it displays like a nice illustration. So I'm just gonna take a break here. Sorry for my English as always. And so I take a little break, and then I just get to another task. And maybe at the end of the day, I'm not done with these tasks, so I have 2 options. So let's sort of simulate this. So at the end of the day, I've done a bunch of other stuff. There you go. Sound effect. Boom, boom, boom. I did a couple of tasks, but I was not able to tackle these ones. So what happens is that I did it naturally, but I either take them back to the backlog, boom, where they're gonna sleep again. There you go, there you go, there you go. Or I'm gonna postpone them if I know where I can do those tasks. So if they were here, there you go. I'm gonna say, this one is really important, so I should definitely do this thing first thing in the morning. And this one, client task, I probably need to get on the call with a client, and so I need to have that client call before having the task. So client call, for example, the client call is here. There you go. And so I can't do it before that. And so I can sort of shuffle my tasks and move them as I'm going through. And that's how I personally manage my schedule. And I'm going to show you a couple of screenshots of my calendar. There you go. Let me see that. All right, so here's an example of my calendar. This is this week's calendar, so it's really fresh. You can see my cool avatar at the top here. As you can see, I'm also using the Sunday as a backlog. So this is where I stack all of my stuff. Don't hesitate to pause the video to have a look at that. Mine is slightly different than yours, probably at this point, because I don't have just tasks. I also have events, but I think this is for an advanced video. Advanced. This was easy. But as you can see, I still have quite a lot of tasks that are scheduled here and there. And I also sort of stretch my task with events to make sure that I have enough time, especially if it takes more than the average, the sort of basic 30-minute that they gave you to get it done. Yeah, my tasks are brown. It's just easier for me to notice. I can show you like a past schedule. This one is a bit more advanced because I have less tasks and I mix it with small events. But as you can see, I really track everything I'm doing. And like I said, no shame. If I'm taking like 30-minute break here, I just write it down. If I take a full hour break here, I just write it down. If I take a 45-minute break, I write it down. And the idea and the reason why you want to do that is because at the end of the week, you want to put your ego to sleep, and really see what you were able to do and what was your productivity, and then see how you can improve your schedule and your ways of working to get more productive. So the first phase, and what's really important, is that on the level 1, you want to track everything and slightly organize it with like I said, a backlog, and just grabbing tasks and moving them to when you're doing it. Try to do that for 2 to 3 weeks, and then you can start identifying the patterns in the way you're working and what is working or not, and then start creating time frames, blocking times to specifically do one kind of work. So that is what I would suggest you to do. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments down below, or reach out to me, send me a DM. My DM are always open. I hope this video was helpful to y'all. And until next time, boom.